Hi, everyone. Welcome to our peer-to-peer summer series training sessions with New Bedford Creative. For those of you who have been attending these, you are used to seeing our host, Jasmine Baird, who is the Senior Creative Fellow for New Bedford Creative. She is taking a well-earned vacation this week and will be back next week. My name is Margo Saulnier, and I'm the creative strategist. So this series would not be possible without our funders. I'd like to thank Mass Development TDI. For those of you who really want to know, TDI stands for Transformative Development Initiative, and the Barr Foundation. These training sessions are one component of a broader TDI Creative Cities Initiative to boost arts-based economic development. I encourage you to check out our website, newbedfordcreative.org, for many other programs we offer. Keep an eye out later this month. We are going to announce our next round of Wicked Cool Places grants. And if you're an artist living or working in the city of New Bedford, please consider joining our creative directory. It's free to join. Before I introduce Elissa, I want to go over the format for this session. Once I'm done, I will pass it over to her, who she'll present for about 15 to 20 minutes. And during that time, please feel free to ask your questions in the chat. And once Elissa is finished, we'll open it up to answer any questions, and we'll wrap up around 2 p.m. So I do ask that you stay muted throughout the presentation. And once we open Q&A, you're welcome to come off mute then. All of these sessions are being recorded, and they can be found on New Bedford Creative's YouTube page the following week. So we already have a bunch up, and I encourage you to check those out. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our returning guest speaker, Elissa Paquette, the owner of the fabulous Calico Boutique and president of Downtown New Bedford, Inc. Last week, Elissa gave an awesome presentation on Instagram basics. So if you missed it, we encourage you to check out the recording on YouTube. And today she's back to tell us about Instagram stories. So Elissa, welcome back, and thank you for presenting today.
Thanks so much, Margo, and thanks everybody who has tuned in today. I'm so excited to teach you guys about Instagram stories. Instagram stories is definitely one of my favorite parts of Instagram to use to market my business, because it lets you be really creative. And that's kind of like the fun of it. The stories only last for 24 hours. So you're not like, you don't have to be so like, so much of a perfectionist as you do with your feed when you're like, oh my God, what picture should I post? Instagram stories, you know, it's only going to live there for 24 hours. So like, if you didn't like it that much, or you thought you looked weird, it's gone the next day. Who cares, right? Can I get a number 1 to 5 in the chat? Where do you feel like you are with your Instagram stories expertise? 1 being like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and 5 being like, I'm great at it. 0. Ethan is a 6. Awesome. So everybody's kind of like middle of the 1.5. So funny. Okay, cool. And then who was here last week? Can you give me a hands up if you were at my Instagram basics last week? How many people do I have from last week? I feel like this is a really good follow-up to Instagram basics, because I wasn't really able to like get into stories too much. Okay, cool. So we have some returning people as well. Oh, Ethan, you watched the recording. Thank you so much. Cool. So you're pretty much up to speed then. So let's just start with, what is Instagram stories and how should you be using it? So I see a lot of people really missing a lot of opportunities with stories. Like they'll just go on, maybe share 1 picture and like call it a day, or share a feed post and that's it for the day. And what you want to keep in mind with stories is that you want to tell a story. That's why it's called Instagram stories, right? So you want to kind of have like a beginning, middle, and an end, like whatever that may be for you. You don't want to just post one thing and then like, hey, peace out, like once a week. And contrary to like posting to your grid, where like I would say for most people, especially those of us who maybe are not photographers, or they're not creating content on the regular, like 3 times a week might be okay for you to post to your feed, just because you might not have enough photo and video content to be posting every single day, right? But with stories, again, it's 24 hours. Anybody can just pull out stories, take a picture of whatever is going on in your business or your organization, or if you're an artist, whatever it is that you're working on. It's kind of meant to be a behind the scenes look into your business or brand. So while your Instagram grid or your feed posts are going to be kind of like your magazine that attracts your potential customer, your stories are going to be where you really develop that like, know, and trust factor. And it kind of is like the reality show behind the scenes of your business. Let's see. Oh, another thing you want to do with stories is make sure you're using like all the features. Because I see a lot of people, they'll just do a picture or a couple of pictures. But there's so much more you can do with Instagram stories. You can do videos, you can do boomerangs, you can share feed posts to your stories. You can change the colors. So you really want to kind of incorporate all the different elements to make your story really pop. Another thing you want to do is tag relevant accounts. So for example, if you're doing like, say you're a nonprofit, like say you're a community foundation and you're doing like a food drive, and you're like, oh, here's Manny. You do a little like video. Here's Manny loading up the truck with all of the donations. And Manny's like, hey, what's up? I'm loading up the truck. It's me, Manny. And then you're going to post that on your story. But Manny is actually collaborating with you, and he is from the United Way, right? So you want to make sure that you tag the United Way to give them a little shout out and a little boost, and say like, hey, like we're here, Community Foundation and United Way, both doing good things for the community, because perhaps your followers want to find out more about United Way or follow along with them. And it gives them a little shout out. And it also gives them the opportunity to re-share that content. So contrary to how the grid posts work, stories cannot be shared unless your account is tagged in the story. Community Foundation is honored to be an example. Hey, you're welcome. But you cannot share a feed post, a story post, unless you're tagged in it. So a lot of people ask me about that. They're like, well, how can I share this? Why are you able to share it and I can't share it? And that's because the account that I'm using is actually tagged in that. So you want to make sure that you tag those accounts. And then if somebody tags your account, you want to make sure that you go ahead and share that content too, because that's just like, it's kind of like, the same way you would cross promote, right? So like if I am in my business Calico and I have a customer come in and they are, shopping for clothes, obviously, I might say to them, hey, you might want to go check out the Mad Lila. It's a vintage clothing store right across the street here, right? So I give my neighbor a shout out. It's the same thing on Instagram. You want to always be like hitting up your community and kind of cross promoting each other. It's going to get you more views. And it's just gonna like share the love, man. All right, so we're gonna go into, I'm gonna try to show you guys stuff on the phone. I hope this works out. Yes, Ethan is putting some hot tips in the chat, so check that out. He's talking about tagging an account and dragging it off the screen. So if it's messing up your picture, you can always drag it to non-existence off the screen, but it's still there. And I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so where are stories, right? So stories come up on your feed here at the top. So these are my stories of people that I follow on Calico. Do we see this? Yes. And they come up in an order that is, it's based on an algorithm that is based in recency and also engagement. And I think like a little bit of location in there too. So the closer you are, the more you engage and the more recent that content is. So in relation to you opening your app, the more recently this account, so Hooray Retail, has posted, she must have just posted because she's right at the top. And I engage with her a lot, so she's coming up at the top of my feed. So that's another thing you might want to just keep in the back of your mind in terms of like, you know, when you're posting on stories, you want to kind of try to space it out a little bit through the day if you can, so that, you know, in the different times of day when somebody might open their app, they're going to see you right at the top. So those are where your stories live, and those are where your customers will see your stories. But if you want to post a story, you're going to swipe to the right, and then you get my dining room table and my cute little candle from the Curus. So this is where you can post stories. This is where you can either do video or you can do photo. The little infinity sign is boomerangs. This little grid one, you can take like, you know, put multiple pictures in a grid. I don't mess around with that too much, but you might want to. With stories, it's really a good idea to kind of just play with it and see what different things are and try them out and kind of like get used to what you like to use and what is going to work best for you. For me, I usually use photo or video. And then I also share a little bit of like feed posts too, which can be a good way to get more eyeballs on posts from your feed, and also again posts from your community's feed that you might want to share and give a shout out to. So let's talk really quick about sharing feed posts, because I can show you a few things with that. So right now I'm in the photo or video area of stories, but say I want to share something from my grid. So I've just posted recently to my Instagram page, and I want to share, for example, these boots that I just posted, right? So how you do that, does anybody know how to do this? How to do that is you're going to tap the little paper airplane icon. It's the third in from the left. And here you'll see you have some options. So you can send this to a friend, which is always, you know, good to do if it's relevant to that person in particular, or you can share it so all your followers can see to your story. And you'll see right at the top, it says add post to your story. So now I have this post in my story, and the significance of sharing the post to your story is that rather than screenshotting it, for example, or sharing a photo or whatever of somebody else, now my followers can go and tap through and they can see my profile, they can read more about that, they can engage with it, they can see the comments. And the same thing goes for if you share someone else's post to your story. Speak about having the same image in story as the post. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but what is the value of having it the same? Oh, why would you want to share it? I think I kind of just touched upon that. I think if you're sharing your personal post from your brand's grid that is your content, one of the benefits of sharing it to the story is it's just another place that customers or followers might see that content. So if it's not coming up in the algorithm for them when they're in their feed, they might see it in their stories. And the other thing that is good about it when you share other people's posts is it gets more reach for them too, because it's going to get that post in front of more eyeballs. And that's what you want. You want to get as much reach and get your content in front of as many relevant people as you can, right? So that's super important and a great way to increase the reach. So that brings me to working with fonts and colors here in stories, because as you can see, when you initially share this post to your story, you're going to get like a color that kind of comes from the post, the picture itself. But say you don't like that, or you want to change that for whatever reason, you can tap on the little squiggly line in the upper right hand corner, right next to the text one, and this is going to give you colors. So now you can tap on these colors and you can get all these fun different colors, right? And then if you want to fill the whole screen in, you just long press on the screen and then that'll fill it all in. Did everybody see how I did that? Another thing a lot of people don't know with the colors too is you can long press on the colors, the little circles at the bottom. If you hold that down, you're going to get this whole like array of colors where you can select any color that you want. Or you can use this eyedropper tool and you can grab colors from your picture too. So those are some really good ways that you can start to make these posts stand out, both feed posts that you're sharing and other content that you're sharing. You can play around with these different features. There's also like, there's a brush, there's a pointy brush, there's a sheer brush. It's more of like a bevel, a chiseled edge. And then you can adjust the size with the slider right here. And then you can undo if you don't like it. Undo, undo, undo. And that's how you mess around with the colors. So then the fonts you're going to find in the upper right-hand corner. Is that the only way to change the background is to select the pen and then tap and hold? I would say so, unless you want to get into some crazy tricks, which we're not going to do today. So that is the only way to change the background. Now the fonts you can find in the upper right-hand corner. And then once you get the fonts, we're going to say new boots. You can tap the little font circle and you can get all of these different fonts. So I always like to try to, if I'm, working with my brands, I like to try to stick to like one or two fonts that we use pretty much on the regular, like a big bold font and then like a little font, kind of the way that you would do like in graphic design, like you would have like I forget what they call it, but the big bold one and then the smaller one and then the hierarchy of the fonts. That's kind of what I try to do, is just kind of stick to a couple of different fonts and not like overload it with all of them, but they're pretty fun to use. There's a bunch of different ones, and you can also tap on it, and if you use this little next to the color wheel, you see the magical A. If you tap on that, it's going to give you a little drop shadow, and it's going to give you, you can reverse it when you tap it again. And this looks different for every different font. So each one will have its own kind of special look. And then you can also change the colors just like we did with the background. Hey, that looks pretty cute. Okay, so next, let's talk about tagging and sharing. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, that you cannot share somebody's Instagram post unless you are tagged in that post. I'm sorry, story. You can't share their story. So let me see if I can show you an example, because I just shared something, I think, to DNB Inc. Okay. So you can see, this is a video that I made the other day talking about this stories workshop, and I tagged NB Creative. So you can see at the top, it says at NB Creative. That's a tag. So that means that not only can my followers tap on that tag and find out more about NB Creative, but NB Creative in turn can then share this piece of content so that their followers can see it. So it gets more exposure that way. So that's something you always want to keep in mind, that if you have some relevant content that you want another business or artist or user to share, that you can tag them in it and give them that opportunity to increase your reach and also build community. So you can see that I always encourage businesses to tag DNB Inc. and even just like regular people. If you're out in DNB, whatever you might be doing, if you're having some great food or you're hanging out or whatever, tag us in your stories so that we can share. And you can see here that Cafe Arpeggio has tagged us this morning in this delicious bagel. So it says add to story at the bottom. So that means that I'm now able to add this to my story. I'll make it a little bigger. And then I'm gonna change the color here. And then I'm gonna tag Cafe Arpeggio just to be like, this is where you get that delicious bagel. And then we can share that. Boom. Does anybody have any questions about tagging? Does that make sense? It's an awesome tool that not enough people are using. All right, so let's talk about using stickers. Stickers are a really great way. I'm at 24 minutes. Good Lord. Okay, stickers will be my last thing. Stickers is a really great way to make your story more engaging and to make your story more visually exciting, right? And there's a number of features you can use to do that. So let's say, again, I'm going to be like, here's my candle. It looks so good. All right, so I have a glorious picture of my candle. So what I would do with this is, well, first, I'm going to tag my girl, the Curist, who made this candle. And let me tell you, this candle smells really good. So the Curist, look how cute her branding is. Oh my God. And then I'm just going to zhuzh this up. So now I have my little tag. So now if I were to go and post this, my friend Jenna from the Curist is going to be able to share this to her story. And that's going to give her what we call the user-generated content. Everybody loves user-generated content, or like, it's kind of almost like giving like a review on Amazon. You're like, I really love this. You can see that Elissa from Calico is using this and she thinks it's good. So I'm not just saying it's good, Jenna from the Curist, like Elissa from Calico is also using and loving this product. So that's always a great thing for brands to be able to share. Okay, so I tagged Jenna. So say I want to like jazz this up a little bit more. I want to add some GIFs, or I want to add some stickers or whatever. These are the stickers. So these are all different stickers that Instagram gives you to use. Now, depending on the way that Instagram like rolls stuff out, some of these you may or may not have. Like you might not have captions, you might not have the music feature, you probably don't have shopping. I have shopping because I have it connected to my Shopify store for Calico. But you will have location, you will have mentions, you will have the question sticker, the poll sticker, and GIFs. So you have a lot of things you can use here. So one of the best things that I like to use is the poll sticker, because it's a really easy, like no-brainer way to get people to engage in your content, and people love to give their opinions. So, you could do anything here, like have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this amazing candle from the Curist? Can I spell Curist? We don't know. So now, once you put this on here, your customers can vote on it. And this can be like a really great way to get feedback for things too. So not only does it increase engagement and get your customer really engaging with your content and feeling like they're part of your brand journey or part of your like inner circle because they're on your little behind the scenes story and they're weighing in on all your stuff, but you can also actually get useful information from this. So to give you an example, yesterday, I did a little story because I hate buying dresses for fall. Like, what is buying dresses for fall? I never know what to get. So I'm like, let me just poll my audience and see what are they looking for dresses this season. Now that I've done this, I'm more confused than I was in the beginning, but just it's still interesting. It's still good. And it's not always confusing, and it won't be for you. But for buying fall dresses, it is. But anyway, so I'm asking them questions like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for casual or going out? Are you looking for sleeves or sleeveless? Are you looking for long or short, right? So you can use this to be like, hey, like I'm going to make some stickers or I'm going to make some prints. Which one do you guys want to buy? Which one do you like better? And that can really inform some of your decisions in terms of like, you know, what you're going to order for your business or what sticker you're going to put into production or what print you're going to put into production, because you'll see like what people are really interested in. And what you can do too here is you can swipe up on this and you can see how many people have voted on it. You can see your how many people have seen it. You can send messages to people who voted on it. This is a little bit complex, but there's a lot of stuff you can do in here. So that's one sticker that you should just start using right away. It's a really easy sticker, a really fun sticker. I would say also just make sure when you're using the poll sticker, a lot of people take this and then they go like this. Don't do that because you're not going to be able to tap that. Nobody's going to be able to tap that. Make it nice and big. And I always try to make it like right at the bottom, like where your thumb is usually when you're scrolling, so that like people will have a really easy time getting in there and tapping on that. Another good sticker. Oh my God, I'm taking so long. All right, real quick. A few more good stickers, and then we're going to take some questions. All right, another good sticker to use is location. This is self-explanatory. You want to tell people where you are. You're at Calico, or you're in New Bedford, or you're in Fairhaven, or wherever you might be. When you do this, what's going to happen? Do I have an example here? No. What's going to happen is I'll bring it up like this. It'll be the same thing as this. It will bring up, when someone taps on it, it'll bring up the location that you're at, as well as all the top posts from that location, so people can see what's going on, what else is going on there. So that's a really fun one to use. Another one is questions. This is a really fun one. You can ask questions here, and your audience can respond in this little box, this cute little box. And then I can go back to this stuff if you guys want to talk about this more during the Q&A. I know I'm going a little bit fast, but it's because we're kind of run out of time. And then finally for stickers is the countdown. This is a great one to use if you have a drop coming, a launch or an event, and you want to remind people about it. It's really awesome because you can pick the day and then also the time. And then this is what it shows up like on your screen. Oh, you can also change the color. So fun. And then users can share this. So if I see this Calico event and I'm on the DNB Inc. page, or if Shimmer sees this, my neighbor, she could be like, oh, Calico's having an event, let me share their countdown. So this is something that is shareable from your story. And it's a great way to get people excited for a launch or an event. And then the final stickers are GIFs. GIFs are really cool. They really add like an element of like quirky fun, or they can add a little bit of like stylization to your stories. For GIFs, I would really recommend doing some search, search some GIFs randomly and see what you come up with, because you'll start to find ones that you'll use again and again. So like I always use, for example, flowers. So I'll search for flowers, and then it'll give you like a whole array of all these different flowers that you can use. And once you get it on your post, you can make it bigger, you can like move it around. And it really kind of adds a lot of visual interest to your stories. So I would just really just like search different things like dance. You're going to get all of these fun dancing ones, and then you just add them to your stories, and it's a fun time. This is kind of funny. Okay, I feel like I have so much more to say about stories, but I know we're a little bit over a half hour, so I definitely want to take some questions and kind of rope it into like whatever would help y'all the most, wherever you are on your Instagram experience.
So thank you, Elissa. I want to point out, Ethan put another golden nugget in the chat, that polls and other interactive stickers also count as a comment to the algorithm, so it all adds to your reach.
Yes, and that's another good reason to be using those types of features in stories, because, and like I said, how I said like the stories are going to come up at the top when you engage with them. It's the same thing with it's commenting, liking, engaging with stories. That's always going to make your content show back to those people. And so the more that you post and the more that your audience engages, the more reach you're going to have.
I have a question, actually. Hashtags in the comments or hashtags in the caption?
Okay.
I know that's not related to stories, but
yeah. Okay. Well, last week was my Instagram basics, so you should totally go watch that. But I have a hot take.
Watch that.
I have a hot take on hashtags, and that is that they don't matter that much. I think people are just way too preoccupied with hashtags, myself included. I've tried every hashtag strategy, use the big, the hashtags with 1 million, use 3 of them. And then the hashtags with like 1,000, use 5 of them, and then mix them all up and make sure you have 30 every single time. And it's just very stressful. And I don't think it's where people need to be spending their time on Instagram. I think you can get a lot more bang for your buck focusing on just like making good content and authentically engaging with the audience you have, rather than stressing out about, all these crazy, using all these hashtags. I think recently Instagram did say they like to see them in the caption. But I think they also said that they're recommending less. So they used to say, yeah, use all 30. Some people were putting them in the caption, some people were putting them in the comments. I've done both. I didn't see any difference. But now when I post, I just use between like 10 or 15 hashtags, and I just try to make them very relevant to my business and my community. And then maybe like 1 or 2 that are specifically like, if it's a gingham dress, I'll be like hashtag gingham dress. But like for the most part, like I'm using things like hashtag this is DNB, hashtag New Bedford, hashtag my local MA, because those are local tags that are more specific. And I think people actually follow those tags. So I think it's more powerful to use those few, specific tags rather than get all like cray about having all these crazy tags. All right, I think Helen has a question. I don't see the video function in stories, only photo, and also what's the difference between a video post and a reel? Okay, so reels is a totally different neighborhood of Instagram. I'll show you the difference between stories and video and photo. So this is video and photo. So I can take a photo, I just tap it. Or if I hold it down, now I'm taking a video. So you can see that just recorded a video. And the videos can be up to 15 seconds and you can do 4 consecutively. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Elissa. It was just that it was a hidden function, like the video. Like you
I
had
know.
to hold it down.
Yeah, that's why it's good to just get in there and like play around with it and like try different things. Because you'll be like, oh my God, this does this, and oh my God, that does that,
Mm-hmm.
So that can be really helpful, but that's where video is. And then you can also do like you could do like a boomerang. So you could make like a boomerang. So boomerangs are like a thing that replays like that. That can be a really fun thing to do.
Okay.
And there's other stuff in here too. Like I don't really use like multi-capture that much, but I think this does like, you just take a bunch of pictures and then it like, what does it do? I think it makes a stop motion, but I'm not going to post that because that's going to be weird, but it's like play around with it and see like what works. It might be like a real, like for my business, I'm not really using multi-capture. That's not really a feature that I am using, but you might find for your business it works great. Or this is layout, so you can do different different photos in there if you have something that works for that. It's a really easy way to kind of do a little grid.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of different ways.
Yes.
That.
Yes, thank you. So in terms of the reel, that is more, I don't know, what's the difference if I make a video?
Yeah. So a reel is a 15 to 30 second like short form video clip. It's similar to the app TikTok. So usually it's going to have like a little it's going to have a little piece of like funny audio, or it's going to have like a popular trending song clip. And people do like dances or like funny like lip syncs to them. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's not, you can do anything on Reels, but that's generally what it is. Okay. But again, I would definitely recommend going in and just watching some Reels. So Reels is the little thing at the bottom. It looks like a movie.
Yes.
So this is Reels down here.
Yes.
And then you can kind of get an idea of like what some other people are doing for Reels and see that. Now you can share Reels to your story, but it's just a different type of content. It's different than stories. Yes. And the Reels will stay on your profile here under Reels.
Okay.
So you can see that these are my Reels here.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for answering that.
No
and
problem.
I just want to thank you for last week when you were pointing out other people's Instagram and what were the common mistakes. And it was that they were all the same. So I took that advice and just tried to improve mine. So thank you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Okay. Thank you, Elissa.
You're welcome.
Alyssa, Den has a question in chat. He says, I don't engage with stories very much to view them, as so many just randomly start playing sound. Is there a way to set them up to only play sound if the user taps a speaker icon like you can do in Facebook? And is there a way to do that from myself in the app when viewing stories?
I think you just have to just turn your phone off, like turn your do not
mute.
disturb. Yeah, and then none of the sound will play.
Okay.
So you tap on it.
Scott has a question. Do you typically plan out your stories in advance?
I think it depends on what it is. Sometimes we will. I think if you're new to doing stories and you're not really sure like what you want to do or where to start, it might be a good idea to kind of create like a little game plan and be like, oh, this is what I'm going to film today, or this is these are the pictures, or this is what I want to share. Like for example, maybe you could do like a studio tour and think about like what that might look like, or maybe you're gonna show like a in process painting or something like that, and you're gonna show like a before and after. So I would recommend just like watching other people's stories, try to find some accounts that really like resonate with you, that you think are really interesting, that are in kind of the same genre that you are, and see what they're doing, and then kind of try to like emulate that and kind of use that as a template for your own brand story. Because like I was saying last week with Calico, I mean, you know, I follow so many stores, and I've been on Instagram for so long that I really get and still do get a lot of inspiration from how other brands are doing stuff and sharing stuff and what kind of content they're creating. So if I'm feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do, like I'll kind of go through and like look at some stuff and get some ideas like that. But I don't really plan my stories so much in advance anymore, just because I'm kind of like, I kind of wing it. But
you've been doing this for a long time, though.
For a long time. So I think if there's something where it's like more complex, like if I'm doing reels, for example, then I do have to kind of plan it out, because it is a little bit more like, you know, if you want like it to look a certain way, or you want it to match up a certain way or whatever. But again, with stories, you can be a little bit looser and not really worry about it so much.
Kristen says, do you know why the music options are so different from a personal to a business account? As in, I've never heard of any of the songs for my business account.
Oh my God.
I think that has to do with licensing.
I think it might have to do with licensing, but I've seen business accounts have it. Like my personal account is actually a business account, and I have it on there. I don't know why.
I think it's just a weird bug that was going around Instagram, because I had a friend that had a business account that could use like, you know, regular music like Kanye or something, and then they got banned for like a few days, and then they only had access to like the license-free IG library, and then a few days later it went back to normal. So I think it's all in just like them testing new features and things like that.
Yeah, like I said before with the stickers, there might be some things that you don't see in there that like Instagram rolls things out in such a way that like some people get it and then some more people get it, and then they take it away and then they give it to other people, and it's really weird. So I mean, you know, I don't know what I would do. I don't even want to tell you what I do about that, because it's way too complicated. Like like if I want music on stuff, I would just not worry about using music. I would just focus on, you know, I know it's a bummer, but I would just focus on using the other features that you have and not really worry so much about adding music.
Great, thanks. So Marissa says, how often do you recommend posting on your stories? Should you post stories more often?
I would say post stories more often, and then I would say post on your grid as much as you can. Like if you can post every day or at least 5 days a week, then you're gangbusters. But if you can just come up with a consistent schedule, maybe at least 3 times a week, so that you're consistent and regularly posting, I think that's fine. But with stories, I would say try to post like every day.
Great.
Maybe skip the weekend, you know what I mean? Like try to post as much as possible.
Awesome, thanks. So Paula says, can you review how to create a highlight and how you then save a story to it.
Yes. So the highlights are the stories that come up on these little bubbles right here. And so when I do a story, I just save it to the highlights. I don't think highlights are super for my business, but what I do think they're really great for is doing like an about me or a store tour or a studio tour or something like that, where it can like live forever up here on the highlights. But I do put, like when I show like new arrivals and stuff, I do put them here. And how you do that is either when you're in your story, right? So I posted to my story all this stuff, right? Say I want to make a highlight of this dresses poll story that I did. At the bottom, you see the little heart where it says, when I put my finger on it, it goes away, but you see the little heart where it says the highlight. See that?
Yep.
You tap it, and then it'll say add to highlights. So I could add this to one of my highlights that I already have, or I could hit new, and I could make a new highlight and give it a name. So I'm going to add that. And then you just go through your story and add each one, whichever one you want, to your story. To your highlight. And then once you get them all in there, you're going to see it on your feed right here. And then another thing you can do is say like, okay, say I don't like the way that looks with that small font in there, and I want to make it something a little bit more like bold. You can go into the story and hit more, and then edit highlight, and then you can give it a cover. So you can add a cover from your phone, or you can add a better cover from one of the parts of your story highlight, or you can like crop it a little bit differently, or whatever you want to do there. And then another way, like say you have stuff already that you posted a while ago, and you're like, oh, I wish I could have added that to my highlight, but I forgot. You still can. So you just go to your archive, you tap the little hamburger in the upper right-hand corner, and that's going to bring up an array of options. And then you go to your archive, which is the second from the top. And this will show you anything that you archived from your grid, and then anything that has expired or is currently on your story. So you can see these are all my story posts. And so if I wanted to go in and like, I could make a highlight of this sales story, and I probably should. Then I could go in and start making a little sale highlight and just keep adding all the different posts from there. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Sorry to be like your impromptu teacher's aide today, but
I love it.
I was wondering if you knew this too. Did you know that you can get pictures off your camera roll as a sticker on your stories as well?
Yes.
So you just you leave the story open, and then you go to your camera roll, you copy the picture, and then when you go back to your story, it just uploads it as a sticker. So you can do that with like multiple things, and it acts as a sticker.
Do you guys want me to show that?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I just feel like that may be a little bit confusing. Okay. So, all right. So say here I am again with my candle, and there's a couple of different ways that you can add a sticker. So I just noticed there's this cool new thing where you can actually go into your sticker thing that I was showing before, and then see this little, it's not a very good picture in here, but it's a little sticker with like, you can see like I screenshot something. It's right below the countdown and above the lips. If you guys see that. So if we tap on that, that's going to give me all of these pictures in my camera roll. So say I wanted to add these boots. it'll pop it right in there like that. But then if you tap on it, it gives you different shapes. Isn't that like the funnest thing ever? Don't ask me why we would need a star shape, but like, I love it. It'll be like, oh, rounded edges, little, you know, ball, little circle. So that's one way to do it. The way that Ethan was talking about, which also works, and it's a little bit, why did I do that? It's a little bit easier if you like don't want to be scrolling through. I always lose that little sticker icon. So say you want to grab like a picture from here. Let's do the boots again. So I just pull that up, and then I hit the share icon in the lower left-hand corner. It's like the little square with the arrow in it. And then this will pull it up like, oh, do you want to airdrop it? Do you want to text it to someone? But if you scroll down, you can just go to copy, and then it's like on your clipboard, right? Go back to your Instagram app, and then there it is. Can you tap this the same? No, it's not the same. So if you want to get those little shapes like I just did, those are in the sticker section up here, right here. Here's a lady in a dress. So you can get all those cool shapes. I do have one more thing I wanted to show you guys, and that is saving your stories. So I think Scott had asked if I plan things, and I don't really plan things that much, but what I do is I save my stories and then I post them later. So I'll shoot a whole story and just save it to my phone, and then I can go home and, you know, sit down and pull up all the, you know, if I want to share like products or whatever, I have everything saved in my phone, and then I can do it like that. And it allows you to kind of like focus more on making the story really good, at least me, because I'm very easily distracted. But the other thing that it allows you to do is edit your video. So if let's try to do this. So if I am here just filming my video, so if I'm like filming my video and then I want to talk until I get to the next panel. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to talk until we get to the next panel. So you talk for like 15 seconds about getting to the next panel, and now you're almost there. And now you're at the next panel, right? So now you're on your next 15 seconds. So I'm going to let it go for another 15 seconds. And then I'm going to be like done talking. Right? So now I have two 15-second clips, right? So what I want to do is use this little arrow download button in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to save it. And then I go to the next one. Make sure you go to every one that you found, and I'm going to save it. All right. So now I have two videos, two clips saved on my camera roll. And if I scroll down, here's the clips. Now, the best part about this is that you can talk and then edit. Like, so if you get to like a point where you're like done talking and it was only 10 seconds, not 15, you can like see, here I am in the awkward silence. So then I can just take it to right where I stopped talking, right? So then I have a nice clean. So that's another way that you can really make video work for you and edit it so that it's smooth and there's not big long like pauses or gaps, or you don't feel like you need to like keep talking the whole entire time. You can just like clip it down with your iPhone, and it's really, really easy.
Thank you so much, Elissa. So
You're so welcome.
We're going to end on time today. I want to thank Elissa so much for presenting, as well as all of our other presenters. Please, everyone, go check out our other videos on YouTube, especially Elissa's from last week, Instagram Basics. We will have this one up within the next week, and you'll receive an email either from myself or Jasmine with the link to that video. And then if you want to ask Elissa any other questions, we'll copy her on that email. But I want to thank you so much for today, Elissa. This was, I learned a lot. I was at a 1 and now I'm like at a 1.5. No.
Baby steps.
Yes, now I at least know how to like fool around with it, you know? So, and for everyone else, Jasmine is who manages our New Bedford Creative Instagram. If it was me, like we would not be as far as we are. So thank you, Jasmine. Thank you everyone for coming today, and have a great day. Take care. Bye.
Everyone.